all correct.
Yep.
Valentino Daltoso. So go ahead and been a little while since you guys talked to Val, so feel free and let me know in the chat that you've got a question for him. We'll go ahead and get started with Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report.
Valentino, I'm going to go with your full formal first name.
Perfect.
Nice to see you. Can you talk about the fact that you've played kind of all over the place on the line at your time at Cal? Now you're at right tackle. What's that like for you? What does that require that you don't do at other spots? And just talk about how the versatility has served you well.
Yeah, I think all the way back when I originally walked on, that was my goal, to be able to play and earn a scholarship. That's something that I set forward for myself, was knowing every position on the offensive line. It's really important to me, just to be useful. And every year that I've played, we have not gotten through a season with just 5 offensive linemen. So there's always opportunity to play, especially as a young guy. And I think it's kind of paid off through my career. I think moving out to right tackle, it's been really good. It feels really natural. It was my first position I played when I got to college, and I really enjoy being on the outside. It's different than guard. I get to be out there and kind of use my athleticism a little bit more. You can be more creative in your pass sets. It's different in the run game. You're blocking outside linebackers who are not as stout as the inside guys, right? But you're dealing with a lot more movement on the edges. So having good feet's really important. But I felt really good, these past 3 weeks in spring ball. And so it's been a really, really good transition.
Did you have an idea this was where you were going to wind up possibly this year?
Yeah, with Jake leaving, and I had discussions with, Coach Angus. I'd always, repped it in practice. I've gotten a couple game reps, when Jake goes down for like a play or two. But that was definitely a spot that, there was kind of a vacancy at. And, I talked to Angus in the offseason about it and just said, hey, if there's a need, I'm open to play it. And, he was thinking, he was on the exact same page. So we said, let's do it this spring ball, and it's gone really well.
And do you think you're actually better suited to play tackle than guard?
Yeah, I think one of my strengths is my athleticism and kind of my my feet. I'm a little bit of a longer guy. So I think I'm able to utilize that more on the edge.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, Val, good to see you.
How are you?
You've obviously played every position on the offensive line. You have another guy in your offensive line room who's looking to do the same, and Ben Coleman. What have you seen from him throughout this spring? Because he kind of jumped out last fall.
Yeah, no, Ben is a stud, and you can tell that it comes really, really natural to him. And, we had a couple conversations last year about, right, he was moving over to offensive line from D-line and kind of, where he fits in. And I told him exactly, what I did when I was kind of a younger guy, and it's make yourself available to be able to play, right? Right guard, left tackle, right tackle, because he has, the ability and the talent, to be able to move inside and out. And I think he's put together a really, really solid spring ball at a lot of different positions. So I think he set himself up really nicely, for fall camp to be able to compete for a lot of different spots.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Hey, Val. Angus was saying that the thoughts with putting you at right tackle was that being right-handed, it might come a little bit more naturally to you. Do you feel like it's a natural fit because of that and other reasons?
Yeah, I do. I feel in pass pro, it being on the right side generally, the having kind of being more in sync with my hands and feet in pass pro, right, when punching, all that kind of stuff, it comes a little bit easier being right-handed. So yeah, I think he was right with that.
So you've had to battle through a lot of injuries, especially 2 seasons ago. Do you feel like you're coming into this season healthier than you've been in a while?
Yeah, 100%. Even, last spring ball, I was dealing with something, before everything got shut down. I feel really healthy. I feel like I'm playing really well. Man, it's just, it's great to, it's always good feeling when you're healthy and out there on the field and stuff. And, be able to string together practices. Dealing with injuries and all that kind of stuff is no fun. But yeah, it's been really good.
And it looks like there's a lot of viable depth around you. And depth is not a word that was in the same sentence as offensive line in the program in the last few years. Is that the case? Do you have a lot of guys that seem like they can really step in and contribute?
Yeah. And I think that was a big kind of, I guess you could call it a silver lining of last year, right? Having a lot of guys out early. We got, I mean, B. Mello, B. Rome, Brian Driscoll, McCade and Sindo stepping up, Ben Coleman, like all these guys getting live game reps, and a lot of them, when it counts, not just at the end of a game. And I think you're seeing that coming into the spring ball as a lot of guys are playing a lot more confident than we had seen them play before. And I think it's really great for offensive line room. There's a lot more competition, and there's not a huge drop off when you're going from the ones to the twos, and that's something that's really, really encouraging, and something we can keep building on going into the fall.
And do you have any early impressions of the young guys, Ryan Lang and Bastion Swinney?
Yeah, they're both great guys. Ryan's a huge dude, but he takes coaching really, really well, and he's applying everything. He's just kind of like a sponge. He's soaking up everything and working on his technique, right? Because offensive line is a tough position to learn as a young guy. It's a lot of really unnatural positions for your body to be in, and so as a young guy, it's really, really important that you're there and just trying to soak it in and trying it out and focusing on your technique, right? Because it really separates you and gets you playing and stuff. So no, I think Bastion and Ryan have been great. They've been there asking a lot of questions and just going out and playing really hard, which is all you can ask for.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about another young guy in Everett Johnson, who's, I think, slated to play some right tackle for you guys in the future. What's he done? I know he came in last spring, but he's a relatively young guy.
Yeah, no, Everett's great guy, another guy that works really, really hard. And he's bouncing a lot. He's bouncing around the spring too. He's playing some right guard, a little bit of left guard too. I think Angus really stresses that, with a lot of the younger guys being able to play a lot of positions. But no, he moves really, really well for his size, and I think it's going to click for him one of these days. But yeah, he has a beautiful pass set. His feet are really good.
And you said it yourself about playing right tackle, is that you're taking on more of the outside linebacker group. How is it just getting to those guys and dealing with some of the athleticism that you have to take on at that position?
Yeah, honestly, our outside linebacker room is, probably one of the most talented we have on the team. Going against guys like Braxton and Cam Good and, Oren and Coyne and all those guys, just loaded. So there's really, you're always on your toes. But it's been great for me, it just getting better and working on those things. Especially I love getting to work against Cam, because he's probably, one of the best, if not the best, pass rushers in the conference. And there's not a lot of guys that are getting that work every single day, right? And when you're on an island in practice and everybody knows it's gonna, it's third and long and it's going to be a pass, and you have to win that rep, going against the best is great. It's I've gotten a lot better for it, and it's a lot of fun going against those guys, and it's a good group of guys.
Okay, we'll move on to Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report.
Yeah, Val. Last summer, you were obviously very involved in the student athlete movement to get some things changed. And I'm wondering, reflecting back, how do you think that went? Did you feel like you made a difference? And where does it stand right now in terms of, is it still alive and is it moving forward? Yeah. What else is on the agenda?
Yeah, no, I think, looking back, I think there was a lot of things you can pick up from it that were really successful. I think first and foremost, securing COVID protections, scholarship protections, standardized testing across the conference. Before we asked for any of those things, it was kind of just every school for themselves. And I think, first and foremost, securing those things for us was huge. And I think, at the end of the day, right, there's still a lot of progress to be made on name, image, likeness, and, revenue sharing for college athletes and all that kind of stuff. But, I think we played a big role, meeting with senators and stuff. And we're a real catalyst for introducing bills, right, such as the College Athlete Bill of Rights, who who came in right after our push and put it out there in Congress for revenue sharing for student athletes. And I think, this is a big summer for a lot of different states, as it comes to name, image, likeness. And I think that's not where it's going to stop. I think in the future, there's going to be a lot more dominoes that fall. And I think name, image, likeness is a huge one. So I guess right now, there's not a whole lot going on, from an organizing standpoint, but, there are a lot of guys across the country that we've kept in touch with and are meeting, pretty consistently with lawmakers, and different stuff like that, because I think, also pushing from a policy standpoint is just as important, for a lot of these things to change.
Do you think that before you guys sort of made yourselves heard, that there were a lot of players, maybe across the conference, even across the country, who were a little uncomfortable, leery, nervous about what's going to be the impact on me? Are there going to be repercussions? And do you think that because you guys made a difference and got a few things changed and got some stuff going, that people are a little bit more confident now that this is something they want to be part of?
Yeah, I think 100%. And that was a huge thing, I think, when dealing with, a lot of guys. I would say, most everybody, 90% of the people we ever talked to were, all on board. They understood where we were coming from and, we're in support. But I think that was a big part. And I think what was really, it was really unique about having so many guys coming together and, kind of standing on that platform together, advocating for those things, right? Because it wasn't, nothing is guaranteed, and kind of putting yourself out there can be dangerous. And I know a lot of people didn't want to do that. And moving forward, I really hope it sets the, the standard for, for more change to happen, and from that to come from the players. I think that's really important.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, anybody else with a question for Val? Okay, Val, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.